How do you truly get on the FIRE journey to achieve financial independence and retire early? I want to talk to you about different ways you can save, invest, and get smarter with your money no matter how old you are or what your net worth is currently. And before I talk about your saving strategies, I want you to ask yourself the why and the purpose of saving money. Why are you saving cash in a savings account? Why are you investing for your retirement in an account like TSP, 401k, or Roth IRA? Why are you saving money for your kids' college fund? And why do you want to achieve financial freedom and retire early? What's driving my wife and I to save at least 65% of our income is to achieve financial freedom and retire early from the workforce in our 40s so we can truly enjoy our lives by traveling the world. We each get one life on this planet, and I have a bucket list that I want to cross off every year. And I want to visit every Major League Baseball park, every NBA arena, every NFL stadium, and every hockey arena or stadium in the US. My wife wants to take a picture in front of a waterfall for every state or country that we visit. And I don't want to turn 70 and look back at my life and say, I could have done more. Eminem once said, if you have one shot or one opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted in one moment, would you capture it or just let it slip? If you're brand new to my channel, my name is Sai and welcome. So in this video, I'm going to talk about what we did to get started on our FIRE journey, the financial self-assessment questions every financial advisor or financial coach will ask you, and easy strategies for you to start saving money so you can start crossing off items on your bucket list. Also, don't forget to check out my Grammarly affiliate link in the description below. Okay, so you've been watching several videos about lean FIRE, fat FIRE, barista FIRE, or coast FIRE, but you're still not sure which one you want to pursue. That's okay, because you don't need to choose one right now. What I want you to do is think about something you wanted to do but couldn't do because of financial constraints. What are some goals that you didn't accomplish but want to achieve this year? Your goals need to be specific, measurable, and achievable. You also need to reflect on your goals and ask yourselves what achieving them will look like 5, 10, or 20 years from now. So the first thing I did was assess my overall finances. I'm going to give you the following self-assessment questions that I give my clients. What is your gross and take-home income? And how much do you have saved in your retirement, such as 401k, TSP, or IRA? What is the cash value of your pension fund if you have any? What is your credit score? What is your total debt, like student loans, auto loans, credit cards, and mortgages? How much do you have saved in your emergency fund? What are your monthly non-discretionary expenses? And those should be your essential expenses like rent, mortgage payment, HOA, gas, insurance, and things that you cannot live without. How much do you have saved outside your retirement and emergency fund? And you'll be surprised how many people don't know the answers to those questions. Here are some additional financial literacy questions you can ask yourself, and they can be extremely helpful. You might think some of these questions are really easy, but again, you'd be surprised about how many people actually don't know the answers to these questions. What is the difference between APY and APR? What is the interest rate you repay to your lender? Does your income have an impact on your credit scores? What is the difference between an actively managed investment fund and a passively managed investment fund? What is your TSP allocation strategy? Like, how much do you invest in the C fund, S fund, or G fund? How much do you pay in fees to your brokerage company to invest in their mutual fund? After answering these questions, the second thing I did was calculate my net worth. Calculating my net worth is a good indicator of my overall financial health. In 2014, my net worth was negative $110,000, and I have 4 maxed out credit cards, 2 personal loans, 2 car loans, and a TSP loan. It was a scary time for me because I didn't realize how bad of a shape or financial shape I was in. And I thought making these minimum payments to repay my debt was a normal thing to do. And I was living paycheck to paycheck, making $58,000 a year. What I got into the habit of doing is tracking my net worth once every month. And you can use platforms like Personal Capital or Mint to track your net worth by linking all of your accounts like checking, savings, retirement, and non-retirement accounts. And I personally don't like using these platforms because I have my own Excel spreadsheets that are much more accurate. And you can visit my website at firesidechat.com/contact to download my spreadsheets for free. And you also need to keep your net worth healthy and diversified. If your net worth is in the negative, then your priority should be to pay off your debt as soon as possible. However, having a positive net worth doesn't necessarily mean that you're in a good financial shape. If you bought a house before 2020, you're almost guaranteed to have some equity in your home, right? So if your net worth is 90% home equity and 10% cash, then you're not in a healthy financial state. What my wife and I like to aim for is to have 20 to 25% of our home equity in our net worth allocation, 30 to 40% of our net worth in our retirement accounts, between 30 and 40% in our non-retirement assets, and the rest is our cash or cash equivalent assets. I strongly encourage you to check out this video I made about the importance of net worth diversification, and I will link that video in the description below. And the third thing I did was to become intentional with every dollar I spend and every dollar I save and invest. I discovered FIRE in 2016, and that's when I really started investing toward my early retirement. What I didn't know was that just saving 15% of my income, making $58,000 a year, was not enough to achieve my Fat FIRE goal of $2.8 million. By the way, that number has increased to $3.7 million, and I will link that video in the description below. Like many of you watching this video, I wanted to do so many things at the same time, and what really worked for me was to focus on one or two things at the same time. And 2016 was the year I became debt-free and my net worth was finally in the positive territory. So I used the following 3-bucket strategy for my FIRE investment. Our number 1 bucket is to prioritize my tax-advantaged retirement accounts. Now, I've had clients ask me in the past why they should prioritize their 401k or TSP when they can't touch the money until they're 59 and a half. The first reason is you get free money in your 401k or TSP. The employer match contributions are now a part of 98% of US employers. The average 401k employer match is 50 cents on the dollar of up to 6% of your salary. If you're a federal employee or a member of the armed forces using BURS, you get the 100% match up to 5% of your salary in your TSP. And we also prioritize our Roth IRA and HSA because they're a part of our tax saving investment strategies. My wife and I are both 35 years old, and we don't plan to touch our Roth IRA until we're in our 60s. The benefits Roth IRAs carry are way better than any other investment assets we own, and we believe our income will be a lot higher than what we make now. And we also believe that Congress will eventually raise taxes in the future. So if we invest $6,000 a year for each Roth IRA, or $12,000 total between my wife and me. We also invest $7,300 in our family HSA, which has the triple tax advantages that you don't normally hear about. By the time we turn 60, we should have over $5 million in our IRAs and HSA just by maxing out our contributions every year. If you want to know more about how to invest in your Roth IRA or HSA, I will link those videos in the description below. And our number 2 bucket is our taxable brokerage accounts. And these accounts will play a crucial role in our early retirement. We knew that just investing in our TSP, 401k, IRA, or HSA would not be enough to retire early from the workforce. So we started working on diversifying our income streams. The question was, how do we replace a 9-to-5 job with 5 streams of income? And one of them is dividends. We love to invest in stocks, ETFs, mutual funds that pay quarterly dividends. And we also love to invest in high growth stocks, ETFs, and mutual funds. However, I don't recommend you picking individual stocks if you're just starting out FIRE. And you can't go wrong with picking index funds like the S&P 500 or the US Total Stock Market Index Fund for the long term. By the time we turn 45, we should have well over $2 million in our taxable brokerage accounts to fund our early retirement. You have to stay consistent with your investment strategy. Some of you like to time the market by putting all your money into bonds and not investing in any stocks during a bear market. You have to learn to treat the bear market like a Black Friday discount. You can still diversify your portfolio by having some stocks and bonds to protect yourself from market volatility, but you don't want to miss out on the growth when the stock market rallies and makes a bull market comeback, right? Our number 3 bucket is our business. And I knew that in order for me to grow and achieve Fat FIRE, I had to step outside of my comfort zone. And since I started my YouTube channel, I've been working on expanding my financial coaching business. This is more of a long-term plan, and I'm not planning on quitting my main job until I I can increase my revenue with YouTube and the financial coaching business. If you're looking to start a side hustle because you're really passionate about something, now is the time to start doing it. The only regret I have is not starting sooner with my YouTube channel. And I started my business as soon as I realized this was something I would regret not doing. And my passion is to help people get out of debt and invest in their future. So you should schedule your 20-minute financial coaching session by visiting firesidechat.com/coaching so I can get to know you more on a personal level. And I've spent years investing in myself because I never want to be stupid with money again. And I've read books and research papers, and I just became very passionate about personal finances and the FIRE movement. And if you're just getting started on your financial independence journey, you should check out Fat Fire on Reddit. And they have some really good stories and information from people about what they're doing to achieve Fat Fire. And you're gonna feel like you're a part of the community. And over the years, I did a lot of research on what other people are doing to cut down their expenses to raise their savings rate. And I did a lot of research on index funds and how they can help us grow our investment portfolio. And lately, I've been reading companies' financial reports before I invest in individual stocks. I've also been reading a lot about the tax saving strategies that millionaires and billionaires use in retirement. And let me give you some of the money saving tips that I collected over the years, and I'm probably gonna make a separate video about it in the future. The first one is saving money on subscriptions. And if you have Verizon, you can get Hulu, Disney Plus, and ESPN Plus for free if you have the unlimited plan. If you're in the military, you could get up to 15% off on your plan, so that's even more savings for you. And the second one is saving money on credit card interest rates with the SCRA, which stands for Service Member Civil Relief Act. When I was in credit card debt, banks like Capital One, Chase, and Wells Fargo lower my interest rates from 17% to 4%. And tip number 3 is creating separate spending or savings account for your annual expenses. You most likely have annual expenses that you don't think about until you get the bill in the mail. Ours is car insurance, which we pay semi-annually, DMV registration fees, card maintenance, credit card fees, and taxes, and those can be hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? The total annual expenses for us are around $7,500 a year, and by saving $300 every 2 weeks, we don't ever have to worry about getting hit with a big bill in those particular months because we have this spending account. And tip number 4 is moving money out of your regular savings account to a high yield savings account. And some banks only pay you 0.01 or 0.04% in interest. And if you go to a high yield savings account, they're paying you anywhere between 1 and 2% in APY. For $10,000, that's a difference of over $100. And tip number 5 is to hit the like button so I can make a future video about money saving tips. And if you want to know more about how to invest for your future, be sure to check out these 2 videos. So with that said, I appreciate you watching my video. Don't forget to subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next video. Have a good one.